Welcome back to this week's Hooking Up and Tracking Down Tip of the Week. I'm Ranger Boat Pro Staffer Steve Graff, and we're going to follow up with last time we talked about the jigs and how to fish them and when to fish them, what size, with different types of heads, ready to fall. We covered a lot of topics about how to fish a bass jig. Now today I want to talk about trailers. Trailers are probably the next most important part to fishing a jig, what to put behind it. When you say trailers, there's different kinds. Again, most of the time, 90% of the time, the jig is trying to imitate a crawfish. So you want something that imitates a crawfish, that looks like a crawfish. And there's so many different baits on the market today. The one I happen to have in my hand right here, it's called a rage tail. Great product, a lot of action. This is at the back end of your jig. I'll thread it on so you'll have an idea of what this actually looks like. Once you thread that on, that's what it's going to look like, okay? Looks like a big crawfish. Here's the pinchers coming out the back. Bass looks at that. He sees it. He thinks it's a crawfish. That's what he's feeding on at that time. This is kind of the sirloin steak to a bass, okay? Or hamburger, whatever you want to call it. But they love crawfish. It's probably their one bait that they really enjoy. It's one of the forages that they just absolutely love, okay? They'll feed on shad, and they like shad, but the crawfish is kind of their ribeye steak. So when they can get crawfish, that's what they're going to eat. Now again, there's different trailers. Again, this is a big trailer. It's kind of a bulky trailer. Gives a lot of action. When you pull this through the water, those flaps are just flapping away. I mean, they're actually just coming through the water. It's got a lot of vibration to it. Great product. The next bait that I really like, and probably my #1 trailer, is called a pocket crawl. It's made by Net Bait, outstanding company, outstanding bait. I use it on a lot of my jig as a jig trailer. Now, there's different types. This is a baby pocket. This is a baby chunk, okay? Excuse me. No, I didn't bring the baby chunks. All right, let's do that again. This is a baby pocket. This is what we call a chunk. The chunk is a much smaller compact bait, like I showed you earlier, and this is what I would use on a small compact jig to make it look small and compact. Whereas with the baby pocket crawl, it's got a lot of bulk to it, just like the rage crawl does, and it gives me a little more bulk to my bait when I want bulk. Now, another thing that a lot of guys like to do during the summertime and early fall is throw what's called a baby brush hog. I like to take the baby brush hog and pinch about half of it off, and then put that on as a trailer, and it's got two little legs coming off of it that's got a lot of action to them. And it's a great kind of a subtle approach, a bait that when you pull it through the water, it's got very subtle action to it. It's not a big bulky bait. It's kind of a slender bait, and it's just a bait they really seem to like, especially in the summertime when you kind of want to finesse them a little bit. So that's about the trailers. Again, you got pocket chunks, you got pocket crawls, you got the rage crawls, you got the rage chunks. Either one of them are great, and you can also use the baby brush hogs as well. Great trailers, but you have to experiment with them to find out which one works best for you and which one you have the most confidence in. That's this week's Hooking Up and Tracking Down Tip of the Week.